Good morning and welcome to Moopsy in the Morning for May the 3rd, 2024. And to the memory of my parents, happy wedding anniversary. They would have been married 79 years today, if they were alive, and if they were both still alive.
Wow.
But they're not. And that, of course, would be based on them not killing each other either, which is also a possibility. But that's a different story. Good morning, Skeptic Taco Batman. Good morning, Lexers. Good morning, Chuli. With me today in the lovely broadcast studios from Moopsy Central are Id and Chris.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. How are we doing?
One, we need more coffee, even though the cup is still full, but there needs to be more in me and less in the cup. But other than that, it's a cool morning here because we're supposed to have rain, so it's that pleasant cool just before a rainstorm, not the cold cool. It's very nice, and unless they've changed the weather report, we're supposed to have a 12-hour rainstorm today, the one that was hitting Dante last night. Let's see if they still are sticking with that one. No, now we're at the brief rainstorm now and nothing all day long.
I don't remember what rain looks like.
Well, it went from being 100% for 12 hours today to being less than 5%, except for right now, and it's not raining right now.
Oh, true.
We don't need the rain by any stretch of the imagination. We've had so many big storms this year. Good morning, Skeptic Taco Batman. Lexers, anyone know if there's a giveaway going on or coming soon? No, I don't think so, because the giveaways tend to sync up with new episodes rather than
or
with
around
new events.
anniversary or
Yeah.
like joint event, like I don't know, Christmas and stuff. I don't think there's like mid-year giveaway unless there's something happening in Star Trek in general.
Yeah, I don't think anything's
might be.
happening. Let's see. Good morning, Chuli. We tried to raid you, Chuli, last night, but you'd already logged off for the night. Should have stayed on 2 minutes longer so we could raid you, and then you could log off. Good morning, Cliff. Right, that's what I meant, Lexers. That stuff usually syncs up with new episodes rather than with events. So we will see, but I haven't seen anything coming through lately. And
Nah. Not even rumors.
yeah.
Because there's usually some rumors, like even especially lately with everything that's been going on in the STO, but I don't think anything's happening.
I wonder if I'll be able to get the ARC updated for Ed's accounts to get all the new stuff. That's a good question. Probably, now that I think about it. Probably. We will see. Julia said he went to bed. How dare you? How dare you?
Sleep is for the weak.
Yeah. And this morning I was weak. The dogs said, "Oh, we have to get up. It's midnight." Yeah, but we have to go pee. But you went outside to pee at 9. Yeah, we have to go again. Okay. 4 this morning. They're like, "We have to go out." You went out at midnight. Yeah, but no, they just wanted to go out and chase squirrels.
Squirrels?
That's always a plan.
Yes. They didn't bark at them. I'm happy about that. But they went out and chased those squirrels around. And I thought, the heck with this, left the door open and went back to bed. And they stood at the open door and were going, "Mom, you can't leave us out here." "The door's open." "Yeah, but you have to come and let us in." "The door's open. Just walk in." "But we can't." Oh my God. So I got up, stood in the doorway, and they're like, "Oh, now we can come in." The other doors are open too, and they can come in through those doors, and they know how to do that. And they still wouldn't come in.
Well, that goes for you.
Yeah. Well, this weekend's project will be to figure out where the window screens are, so I can get those in the windows and open up the windows, because so far it's very pleasant in here, but I can see, because of the lack of windows upstairs, that it could get very warm up here. And I am not an air conditioning person. Subject to change, Id. If it needs to be on, it needs to be on. since I know that's a health thing that some of us need to consider. Worst is when the dog is scratching to get outside, and then you take it outside, it runs a bit, and comes straight back in. Yes. Cliff says, but we're so helpless and pathetic. You have to do it for us. Yes, I know. Especially the one who's sitting in my lap right now. But Mom. And yet this is still less stressful than being married. Maybe because I can understand dogs being helpless and pathetic, but another human being I have less tolerance with.
What's the video? It's like, so you value the life of a dog more than a human's. This one, yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever met a dog you didn't like?
No.
No. Have you ever met a human you didn't like?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, dogs aren't inherently evil, though there's this whole thing going around on Facebook, which nobody's gotten back to me on, so good, about women who are more scared of men than they are of bears. And I'm thinking,
yeah.
women who are more scared of men than they are of dogs, perfectly reasonable. I get that. Bears are big, and they're not inherently friendly.
I guess it depends on the bear.
Yeah, but as a general rule, if you don't know a bear, a nice, 6 foot at the shoulder grizzly with 4-inch claws that can eviscerate you with one swipe, versus a human being who you probably can talk to.
Right.
But
Theoretically, yeah, but I don't know.
I don't like to generalize. It's one of those things. I don't drop shields when I meet anyone, male or female. It's always get to know them first, and then you can lower your shields. But shields are up and red alert when I see a bear, because you just don't know. As Lexers just said, spoiled bad word, who say that never met a real life bear. Yep, yep. People can be inherently dangerous. I will say that, but I'm not going to specify it's men versus women, because maybe a woman couldn't, not every woman could physically hurt me on the first pass, but not every man could either.
Women aren't, I'm not generalizing, but you don't see women, even obnoxiously checking out or commenting on guys on the street, right? Guys will do that.
Just to let you know, yeah, they do. They really do. Oh
not
my
in
God.
your face.
Oh, not in your face. They do it behind your back.
But guys will do that in your face. They will whistle. They will do, ooh, I like a smoking piece of meat or something like that. They will comment like that. And that's something that's kind of like, how is this socially acceptable still in
Well,
this
still
day
is
and
the
age?
thing. Well, there's a whole number of comebacks to that. The thing is, every now and then, oh my God, that's so good for the ego. And because many women, not all women, can have a really bad sense of self-esteem, hearing that isn't always a horrible thing. But it feeds into their lack of self-esteem, so it reinforces it.
You don't know who you're commenting, right?
Yes, and then the other comeback is, you kiss your mother with that mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes that shuts them up. I'm not going to go into that one. Lexer's university encampments are being funded by Middle East countries. That may or may not be true, but we're not going to go there this morning.
Oh no, not politics, please.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm not a big politic thing. If you guys want to talk politics off the air and on the side, go for it. You can use the channels as much as you want. Just be aware that not everybody enjoys that. And no need to apologize. Yeah, self-esteem issues are a big thing for women, and that's an acculturation thing that I think we need to really address.
Yep.
But it's so weird. I have worked with so many people who do construction and heavy industries, ones who are frequently, done for catcalling and things like that, who just don't do that. And yet I've worked by construction sites, and I'm sorry, I'm an older woman. I know what I look like. And it's got to be a reflex on their part to some extent, because it's one of those. You look around and you're going, are you talking about that guy over there? No, you. Nah. You need glasses, dude, or better judgment.
It's going to keep his mouth shut because it is a flirt, but it's just going to shut up now.
So Lexer says, is it really a self-esteem thing or an indoctrination thing? Both. It is very much both.
Yeah, the two don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah. I have really bad self-esteem issues, and after dealing with some therapy, which was very helpful, I kind of realized it's because I, at one point in my life, wanted to be the, oh, poor, pitiful me, nobody likes me, I'm not good enough. And the therapist kind of was like, yeah, why'd you start thinking that way? Did anyone do that? Well, let's go through it. Let's talk about it. Let's figure this out. And after a while, we both are kind of like the, you did it to yourself type thing. Well, how are we going to work this back out? I found that really interesting. Some of it was family, too. You come from a bigger family of really, really smart, capable, and talented people. You're just going to see the other people as being smart, talented, and capable and not realize that you are too.
I totally get that self-esteem thing. I've
Yeah.
been doing that to myself as well.
Yep.
It isn't like I programmed myself. I kind of was conditioned to that as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
My
No.
dad was very obnoxiously critical of everything I did. Even stuff that I considered a success, he was like, "Why not better? You like, what the hell?"
There are some
Oh,
parents
what?
who think that motivates their kids to do better
Yeah,
rather
that
than realize it.
motivated me and made me in spiraling, self-criticizing to a point that I believe I can't achieve a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a terrible childhood with the notion that you're just a piece of crap. Like you can't do anything properly. Everything I do touches is bad. It's just like not good. And
Yeah.
that reflected on how I see myself in the mirror. That reflected how I overly critically view myself. As I was like for a lot of time, I was just thinking that people are looking at me and they think what a loser I am and how
Yeah.
like even physically unattractive I can be to other people since I am to myself because I'm like overly being criticized and that kind of grew into me.
Yeah.
It took a lot of time to actually
It
compartmentalize it
it takes a lot
and
of time.
stop caring about what people think and like have some sort of I mean it's still a struggle. I don't think you ever get fully out of it in a state like, oh, suddenly shift 180 degrees and you're like, oh, I'm super optimistic, I love myself, and you can,
It
but it's a
takes
process. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
still not
process.
there
You are
yet.
so right.
Still not there yet, and I'm not trying to force myself into like false attitude that I don't believe in. This has to like come out of me.
What is
I
it?
also recently started I mean, analyzing my thinking patterns, all around that stuff still. And actually, I got into stuff evolving around mental health issues and
Yeah.
neurodivergence and stuff like that. And then I think it will be difficult financially to diagnose this, but I might have ADHD that has never been properly diagnosed because I have like 90% of all the symptoms and issues with thought processes and patterns that typical ADHD people have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Like
I have
I'm
a like I know I
on,
have ADHD. I had it as a kid, still have it, but none of the outfits here that do adult uh, mental health
Mm-hmm.
actually prescribe anything for it.
Yeah, in adults they don't very often, unless you were diagnosed as a
yeah,
kid.
I've actually researched it. I even found a decent channel. It's on YouTube and TikTok. That a guy who actually was diagnosed as a very young child, but he actually never. I mean, he was diagnosed. His mother knew, but she never told him. So he found it out at the age of 35 that he has an
Yep.
ADHD that his mother knew about, but she
Oh,
never told
oh,
him.
Yeah,
oh, that's terrible.
but yeah,
He was
the
managing it. She was giving him medication as a kid, but it made him a zombie child,
Yeah.
so she stopped giving it to him, but she never told him
that
on what it
that that
is.
that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Is I was on it. I was on the medication for a while, and I was a zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Worst
the
stuff.
part
medication.
is the worst part. You know, it led to abuses that I won't go into on channel.
Mar Hockman says, for me, the big realization is that normal people have a definition of normal that's not really the majority.
Yep.
Yeah, Mar Hockman, when I was going through therapy, we got into a discussion of autism and people on the spectrum, and the counselor was kind of describing the reality is almost everybody's on the spectrum. It's just
Yeah.
most people are fitting in the bell curve in the middle, and we're just looking at the outliers. But the brain
Yeah.
and the body are so complex and such interrelated mechanisms that rely on genetics, environment, food, upbringing, the way that you are mentally composed, which depends a lot on how you were brought up, that there is no normal.
Yeah.
And people just
So
manage to
that's why
get into normal functioning that even if they
That's why-
have some abnormalities, they don't take over.
That's why I tend to refer to myself as neural spicy.
I've heard that. I've heard that people are calling themselves neurospicy. Which is an interesting
But,
take. But yeah, they're on the. You go ahead.
I had a caseworker look at me dead in the eyes and tell me that ADHD and autism was not real, and it was proof that their parents didn't beat them hard enough.
No, that's okay. I was listening to
Jesus.
something yesterday in a cancer clinic where they had left out the Oprah magazines and copies of the book The Secret, which basically told people that their cancer was a direct result of their bad thinking.
Oh my God.
This is in a medical clinic.
Yeah, this was the same
Jesus.
uh,
You thought yourself
caseworker
into
who
cancer.
suggested I go to a behavioral modification camp in Mexico because they're
oh.
currently illegal here.
Yeah, they are.
A what?
Behavior. They will try to reform your behaviors through a number of methods. It can be through physical abuse. It can be through constant reindoctrination. Any number of ways.
Basically, worst
Have,
solution
have
ever.
you have you seen Clockwork Orange?
No.
Okay, go watch that.
Now I don't want to.
No, you don't want to.
You don't want to.
You
but,
don't want to. It's a good movie, though.
just find the redoctrination scenes from that. Yeah.
Sorry, I've already
it-
been attempted to be
it's-
reprogrammed from my sexual orientation. I'm not going to
Yeah.
watch anything about
Yeah, well,
reprogramming
Yeah.
people's
I mean, they
patterns.
have camps, and I use that in quotation here, where highly religious people will send their kids to pray the gay away, is the way that it's
Yep.
been described.
Yep, that's
My-
what the pastor from my mother's church was doing with me. He was trying to pray away my gayness, and he was trying to heal me with hugs because apparently my dad didn't give me enough hugs as a child, so that was the solution to
Well,
replenish the
There is at least
deficiency.
one of these camps here where the counselors, unbeknownst to the parents who are sending them, are themselves gay, and they're not doing anything other than trying to help the kids accept that this is who they are and how they are, and these are, ways that you get through your life, and, how you need to just deal with yourself as yourself. So they're actually hugely advantageous, but they don't advertise that to the parents because they don't want them to know that they're actually going to help their kids.
Yep.
So I found that to be absolutely delightful that somebody
Yeah,
realized that this
I-
could be a good thing for kids if you don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I've been told. Have you gone to tried to go into church and praying it away? It's like,
Now, have you tried to pray your cancer away instead of going to the doctor then?
People do that too, yeah.
I mean, sure, but there are still a lot of people that will go to the doctor, but they will always say, but when they're recovered, it's like, thank goodness it was God's will. I'm like, yeah, then why did you go to the doctor?
Yeah.
If there was God's will for you to recover, what did you even... Like, did you doubt God that he wants you to recover?
Well,
Like,
that's really interesting. If you really had believed in him,
yeah.
you should have just stuck with that. Okay, so I'm an atheist, but
Me
if
too,
if you
but-
are religious and it works for you, then go for it. I'm not going to tell you. Faith sometimes helps. Lexers is right. Faith, if you are a person who needs faith to help you get through your day and your life and your disasters, go for it.
Absolutely. But stop shoving it down other people's throats. It's
And admittedly,
unsanitary.
most people don't. I have a good friend who is the child of two ministers, and he grew up in Europe because they were doing whatever you do when you're a minister, preaching to everybody else, and That's how he grew up, and he's devoutly religious, a born-again Christian, young earth creationist. He never has asked, okay, that's not true. He once asked people if they wanted to come to one of the services he was going to on Thanksgiving. Everybody was invited to the house, and did they want to go to service with him? And most of them said no, and he said, okay, I'll be back in a couple of hours. And that was it. And I still love you, Brian, for that. He's never once tried to put it on us, but he's there if we need to talk or anything else, just like a human being. Go figure. Unlike some of my other acquaintances.
Or.
I use word acquaintances very carefully as opposed to friends. But hey, we spent the first third of our day chit-chatting about mental health and religion and all that. Would anybody like to go kill things?
Sure. Why not?
I have nothing interesting. I've got Tholian chips and a Lucari TFO. What's a Lucari TFO? Is there a good Lucari TFO?
No such thing as a good Lucara TFO.
Well, there's Enkethi Front.
Oh yeah, that's one. That's the only one.
The Church of Q? I like the Church of Q.
I don't know. Does he materialize in the church, or is it just
well, we all practice apparently. We
eyes?
don't, and we snap our fingers, and everything gets fixed. There is a
I wouldn't mind some bit of that.
There's a Simon Pegg. I think it's a Simon Pegg movie out there right now.
He's making movies on his own, isn't he? I mean, he has
low
his own
budget
thing.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw it's not Shaun of the Dead, where he's got the ability to change reality by. Let's see. I don't know which one it is.
And look at them Borg vaporizing.
He's got so many. Anyway, he thinks of something and it happens.
Oh, I'd love to.
And I think, I'm pretty sure it's Simon Pegg. It's quite good.
I would think out a few people out of the face of the earth.
Well, as soon as he does it, he realizes, oh, that wasn't quite what I meant. And then he undoes it, and then he doesn't undo it correctly. So something else goes. He's really sad that somebody dies, so when he does that, they come back. But, of course, now they're semi-decomposed and back, and then he realizes that's not what he meant to do, and he also has accidentally reincarnated everybody.
Yep. Kind of reminds me of, I think it's called The Invention of Lying.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Gervais.
Yeah, I love that movie. That is good.
Like, I'm sorry, I paid you with the 50. It's like, oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me get you your change.
Yeah, because lying doesn't exist in that culture.
Right.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, in his reality, lying did not exist.
Right.
I've got 10 Borg ships to destroy. Maybe you can do something Borgy.
Okay. Let me see if I can find that movie really quick here. The Invention of Lying, yes. Oh, 2009. So
Not that
he was,
old.
yeah, he was the actor, director, writer, and producer. Which he does on a couple of them. But I really enjoyed that movie too, especially when he's going out with his girlfriend. No, and Lex says it wasn't Shallow Hal, but it's kind
Shallow
of.
Hal was a good movie too.
Wasn't that Jack Black?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I'm into my back into Jack Black phase right now after Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yeah, Jack Black. I think. What's his name? Tony Curtis is in it. The self-help guru, Shallow Hal.
I thought Tony Curtis was dead.
Let's see.
Tony Robbins.
There we go. Knew it was one of those two.
One of those two. What did you say we needed to kill, Chris?
Borg, 10 Borg ships.
10 Borg ships. All right, let's put together a party here. Are you in? Is you in?
No, I'm just kind of hanging back.
No worries. Would anybody else like to join us for some Borg destruction? I'm sure we can pick up a pug pretty easily.
Oh, for sure. There's Borgs are always popping in.
Yep, yep, yep. I
Not
now
one of
have.
them. Like for a very long time, the guillotine kept popping in. Now it takes forever to actually get one.
Yeah, well, we got it instantly
Okay.
2 nights in a row.
Lucky you. Probably on the weekend though.
Yeah, it was on the weekend. You're right. I was looking at it, and there were a bunch of people in the game, but everybody was doing. Oh, it was during the VREX thing, or whatever it was last weekend.
Oh
Borg
yeah.
destruction! Exactly. All right, let's go ahead and key this puppy up. We'll go for a painless one. I'll queue up guillotine. See if that pops up. I'll put guillotine on there. And little infected conduit. And yeah, we'll have a little fun. Kidmer Vortex. How many do you have to kill?
And not a lot, but
There we go. I've got 4 Borg things queued up. Let's see if any of them pop.
nice.
I'm
God, I
not
love the
violent, Cliff. The best TFO for Borg ships is 359. Well, the reality is the best TFO for Borg ships is the one that pops up.
Yeah.
359.
359 takes a bit
Yeah.
long-ish. You can't like sprint it
Mm-hmm.
if you have like very little time.
Yeah, ISO.
ISO and Kidmer and probably Hive. Hive is right now popping out like crazy.
Infected conduit?
There.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, Lexers, now that you get to do team kills, getting 30 isn't a problem anymore. 30 in 10 minutes, about 30 in 5 minutes with a couple of these. That said, I happen to like 359. It's fun.
Is that only in space though, or does that count for day one arthropods?
It's
Well, you have specified either Borg ships or kill Borg on ground. It's never like kill Borg, and that doesn't give you 3 Borg and a number.
ground kills sometimes and I don't know. I know if you're teamed it helps, but I think you still also have to be in proximity to each other.
I don't know. The on ground, I think it never worked for me when you're teamed up.
It's rare. Yes,
It's weird. It's inconsistent for sure.
but Lexers, he doesn't need 30. If I was going to do 30, I
Oh,
would
for
do
fudge's sake.
the cure. No, I'd do Kittimer. Kittimer, because of all the probes, is easy to get 30.
Oh, we have a lovely D7.
How do we get a D7 in here? Oh, that's right.
It is a Discovery D7 Miracle Worker Flight Deck Carrier. It's kind of dumb that they call it a carrier if it's a cruiser. I don't know why they changed it. It was initially Flight Deck Cruiser, and suddenly they renamed it to Carrier, the same thing they did for the Disco Carney. And it's like, it's a cruiser class starship. Like, what the hell? The naming in this game is very dumb for some ships. Like, I just hate that they made Voyager a science vessel, even though it was a cruiser as well. The Intrepid class was designed tactically. It's supposed to be like a mission fast responder. It's supposed to be more maneuverable, faster,
Didn't intend
still
to go
capable in firepower, and they made it into a sci vessel in the game. Still can get over that. And the Intrepid is such a cool ship and such a cool design.
A probe is closing in on a transporter. Destroy it. A probe is closing in on a transporter. Destroy it.
We'll go get those probes.
I could watch the Connie in combat all day. Every single Constitution starship is just so beautiful in combat.
No prejudice on those, right?
No, completely none. Not biased, not at all. Ah, yet another good episode of Discovery yesterday.
Maybe.
I liked
Oh,
it.
I like that they've actually gone to the classic Trek. Like, they do still follow an arc, but every single episode is kind of self-contained. Like, they kind of tried to do that in season 2. And kind of like did a compromise between doing the new track that follows a story arc, but also it does give the characters time to evolve. I'm not going to spoil, but it allows the crew enough interaction that it feels genuine, like it did in the old track, where they even had a normal sit-out conversation over a drink or something. Like they do struggle with stuff, or they are trying to go through stuff, and they actually talk about that rather than constantly being focused on the bigger picture that they're following. I absolutely adore that. I missed that for so long time, for such a long time, and they kind of did that in like Strange New Worlds, like almost to the same level, but you actually start to notice. I see Discovery first 4 seasons as a crew in making. Like we used to meet a crew of a starship, like except for the Enterprise, which was the NX. Well, they were just building a crew.
Right.
But like every other show was kind of like they were already in the middle of
Yeah.
their thing. They were doing their thing, and we just catch up to them when they're already kind of like seasoned. They knew each other, they have interaction, they trust each other to a degree. And Discovery's first full seasons were showing how such crew gets there.
Well,
Because,
here's the problem with that, and it's the reason one of the many reasons I dislike Discovery, is if you're going to do that, that means the writers and the story developers have to have those characters developed from the get-go. Whereas in your Star Treks, your Wagon Trains, any of the older stuff, they just gave you the character, and it allowed them time to go and develop how that relationship works, and then they could build a backstory on it. It was actually lazier writing to do it that way. To do it the way Discovery did requires them to come in with more ideas and everything more set in stone, which they didn't do. And
well, I'm not saying this was intentional, but that's how it looks like. That the show is like, from the very beginning, it kind of was focusing on Burnham and showing how she was supposed to become captain, but things happened that drew her back from actually getting even close to the seat of a captain.
Yeah,
and then she tries to learn how to be a leader and stuff. And there is an episode where we kind of see a contrast between today Burnham and season 1 Burnham, very pronounced. It shows that they didn't do consistent writing for sure, because between seasons she was like sometimes too much Mary Sue, sometimes she was just too much laid back, and it was like they felt like they stopped having an idea how to utilize her for quite a while. But in season 5, she's just such a matured captain. I'm just like in love with her. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but I'm surprised that the writing got so good for season 5. I mean, I guess it's a send-off idea. That's why
it wasn't supposed to be a send-off. They thought they had one more season, so the cancellation was a surprise for the writers.
Yeah, they were like in preparation for season 6, so they weren't expecting. But they did actually. Well, if that was the thing, even considering the reshoots that they did, because they did some reshoots to accommodate the fact that it's ending. But I think they've done a pretty good job, surprisingly. And I get that people can't stand it for what it did before and how it was run. I still can't stand Stamets. But they fixed Tilly. I actually like Tilly again.
Tilly was fine for one episode, and then it wasn't her character. It was her It
No, they made
was,
her in a way that I can watch her and I have
yeah.
some fun in her.
You know, the fact that you've got somebody who's neuroatypical and that cannot be a character, that's just part of her character. You know,
Yeah,
and she
but they
never got
actually
beyond
did
that.
it. Like they actually just made her that part of her, but she's now a bit more matured. But she's still Tilly, but she's I don't know. There's just like a bit more to her.
Yeah,
Uh,
the Tilly's growth has been interesting, and especially this last episode. She, what is it? I think it's episode
No
6.
spoilers.
No, but Tilly does something that is genuinely her at the core,
yeah,
and I love it for I love her for it.
Let me
yeah.
get.
This was 100% Tilly, but it also was I don't know more mature. I don't know. Generally, I just think that they do a lot of stuff right in this season. I can't sit and criticize anything really that much. I mean, of course, there's not a perfect Star Trek show, and this is far from it. But I'm starting to like if this is what we could get in season 6, then I'm gonna miss Discovery because they actually finally got to the right flow of it. You've got like Captain doing personal log, Captain doing started like duty log, other characters are making their own personal logs and they're saying what they think. It all works together so well, and I absolutely love Cronenberg in that show. Um,
Oh, yeah. David Cronenberg's
David
Ovage.
Cronenberg Kovic is absolutely amazing. I absolutely adore every scene with him. Yeah, he's such a mysterious figure, but I just absolutely adore him, and I'm loving that they've added him to like a recurring thing between all three last seasons. He's just absolutely spot on character that I like watching. And they finally fixed admirals in Star Trek. I think Discovery is the only Star Trek TV series that actually didn't do, pardon the word, douchebag admirals that
Right.
were absolute douche canoes of human beings. That they did all the wrong decisions for the sake of some bigger picture, but those mistakes had to be fixed by a captain.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's one of the issues with admirals that they have had pretty much since
They
TNG.
always had that.
Well, no, original series was a little bit more balanced with their admirals. They were good and bad, but with TNG, the admirals, fleet admirals in particular, and vice admirals were frequently used as the bad guy. And
Yeah.
so with Elena Nechayev, they went back in later episodes and Picard serves her tea and appetizers, and she kind of softens a little bit, and you begin to see she's not just the bad character. They did better writing. It's really easy to make the fleet admiral the deliverer of bad news, hard news, difficult news, and never bother to flesh them out. And you can do that
Yep.
if it's something that's going to appear for one moment, but it is cheaper writing.
But
Yeah.
it was done in almost every show
Oh,
that the admirals were just the
absolutely.
reason. I mean, not even in the shows. The Kelvin Star Trek even did
Absolutely.
that.
I am not disagreeing with you. I'm telling you it's cheap writing.
Yeah.
You have to spend some time to make these more fleshed out and more interesting and, you know,
And Discovery did that quite well because I loved Katharina Cornwell. Like Admiral Cornwell was such a blessing in that show.
I just
Love
I-
seeing her.
it
I
just
am-
threw me off so far with the first 3 seasons that I just gave up on it. It's
I
like
mean-
Game of Thrones. I watched the first 30 minutes and realized, no, this is not something I want to watch.
I've gotten to episode 4 of Game of Thrones, and
You're breaking up there.
I was saying that I've gotten to episode 4 of Game of Thrones, and I kind of just went, I'll finish it later.
Yeah.
But no, I've been loving Odin Fair's Admiral Vance.
Admiral Vance
I
is
love
such a
Odin
blessing.
Fair.
He's absolutely I just can't. I love it that he's also part of this.
He's such a dadmiral.
Yeah, but they do Silver Fox's daddies and Discovery
Yeah.
very well. I have to say. This is the second
Like the new first officer.
spoilers.
Yeah, I like the cut of his jib.
Absolutely, Rainer is. I just love watching him, and I love how he's growing. How they give him the growth. Like, wow, absolutely. Rainer is such a pleasure to watch, and the actor that they chose for this is just perfection.
Well,
Couldn't find a better one.
let us do another round of death here.
Sure.
Okay.
My Connie's ready.
Okie dokie.
Actually, the Constitution 3 looks very well in the Odyssey skin. I just used the Odyssey hull material and it's beautiful.
Lexers, I'm going to go back to something you said earlier. Well, there's a feminist thing to it. I'm not sure what you mean by a feminist thing, or to what, maybe because the conversation was going a bunch of different directions. I don't think much of Trek is feminist, to be honest. Sorry, I had to stretch there. All right, what are we doing here, Chris? What do you want to do?
Anything really. I don't have any
Can we do
anything on the agenda.
Can we do a Zenkethi front?
Sure.
Okay.
Hit it.
As soon as I get scrolling down there, I will hit it.
What is wrong with the Farah rings? Why are they twisted? Gravity doesn't work like that.
Special gravity. I don't know. I haven't been to Defer in a while. I'll have to go look there.
Yeah, if you follow the rings, they are twisted like an ellipsis of sorts. And that's not right. That's not how rings work. If you have a meteorite rings, they will likely just
They will
hover
eventually. They
in a straight
should
line.
go into kind of a fairly even circle and then slowly collapse in on themselves.
Yeah, but the thing is that they should be a straight line, right? They will circle at the...
Reasonably, yeah.
Yeah, but
Reasonably.
if you look at them, they a part of them is like up higher and part of them is lower in some bits, and then
Well,
it looks like
maybe
it's...
the rings haven't stabilized yet. It does take a little while. Maybe it recently blew up a new moon and was collecting debris, though that wouldn't speak well for the culture down on the planet. But hey, that's a
Well,
different
the Farah
story.
is quite highly advanced
Yes, I know.
culture, so...
I am fully aware of that. So I don't know if it's in the book we're working on now or in the first book. I think it was in the first book. Weebu?
Weewoo.
We were talking about that, how they would put a developed culture on a planet that's actually in a system that, if you look at it in terms of stellar history, is probably in the millions of years old and therefore wouldn't be a stable planet, let alone have a culture, let alone have sentient life. But they're there because it looks pretty in space.
Yeah. I mean, they did that in Star Trek a lot of times.
Yeah.
And space shows in general. You're talking about the actor who plays Raynar, Clef. Yeah, I never got too much into Battlestar Galactica, the new one, anyway.
Oh, Lexer's PC crashed. No worries, Lexer.
Or nor. That's never good.
Yeah, I've had issues with Twitch crashing on me lately. And then, and it's not my computer, I don't think. And then the even more fun when the game crashed the other day.
Or nor.
So
That's never good.
I was doom scrolling through TikTok and
Doom scrolling?
Katie Sackhoff,
Did you call
right,
it
yeah.
doom scrolling?
Yes, doom scrolling is where you just kind of scroll endlessly.
Oh my god, there's a
Yeah.
name for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
And I came across a TikTok from Kitty Sackhoff
Mhm.
going on about how when she got the role for Battlestar, she called up her dad and it's like, "Hey, I got this great job," and he's like, "Have you seen the original?" It's like, "Yeah." "Who are you playing? This character?" "Go watch the show."
Or nor. No pressure.
Teammate has captured a bomb. Protect
I've seen an interview with her where when no one was told on set of Mandalorian that a character's gonna be Luke Skywalker, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, she knew, but they did something like visually in the script and like this in the description that kind of was supposed to throw them off,
Mm-hmm.
and like no one knew, and no one was supposed to know until it actually happens on set. And then she kind of like knew it from the beginning
Mm-hmm.
because there was the description, and it just made logical sense that it would be Luke Skywalker walking in. There's that scene at the end of the season, I think,
Bright light, by the
Yeah.
way.
where Luke appears and he takes the youngling. Funny thing is, it actually was Mark Hamill.
Oh!
Yeah, he was there. They just CGI'd his face,
Yep.
but it was him. He walked in the robe and he took the hood. I've seen some from behind the stage shots of him like in the costume, and I'm like, oh my god, people must have been nerding about like shooting
Oh,
that
sure.
scene. Like,
Who
Jesus,
wouldn't? That would be just like
how
nerd
how
heaven.
how do you shoot that and like be composed with yourself? They had to reshoot that scene multiple times because I would just be screaming there if I would be in a crew. Well, I probably wouldn't be because I couldn't compose myself, but still. And she was like, "Come on, this is Luke Skywalker. No, this is a master that was in hiding. Like, come on, we know it's Luke. I know it's Luke." And she was right, apparently. I love the interviews with her. She's very natural.
Yeah.
I don't know. She just feels genuine. Like she's very in the moment with herself. I have a uncovered station here. Nose and Kathy, if anyone has a bomb.
I'm up at the starbase trying to keep these two ships from hitting the starbase.
Yeah, protect the starbase.
There's a bomb if somebody wants it.
Teammate has
Somebody scrapped one.
protect them.
Oh, I think someone's coming.
He was involved
Okay.
in a fan film back in 2015. It was
Really?
Power / Rangers, a unauthorized, like really gritty short film of Power Rangers, and she plays Kimberly, and it's
Wow.
rather interesting. Had James Vanderbeek in it, and
Has anyone heard? Sorry.
ahead.
Has anyone heard any gossip about Stargate though?
Yeah, I've been hearing more and more popping up about it, so.
Because there's been like rumors back and forth, like even before the pandemic. I know the pandemic has kind of shut any ideas for anything happening, but I keep hearing like some actors who like, well, they still know each other because they're in contact. Some of them are really good friends,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so they are like in touch, and some of them like confirm that there are talks behind the scenes and stuff. But it's been so quiet. I don't know. I haven't heard anything new.
Yeah, Amazon is really sleeping on getting that off the ground.
They haven't even like made it available in all regions, even though they
Yeah.
own it and they have the ability to, which is the stupidest thing ever because this series, for once, the whole three shows and all the movies have a rather large cult followage. They could allow people to get up to speed and like even
Yeah.
probe it out how people are interacting with it to
Yeah.
scope how much potential does the show have, and they literally have, like you said, they're sleeping on it, and I can't stand it. Stargate was such a good franchise. And there was even a talk that Emmerich and Devlin wanted to get
Yes,
back
that
to
was what I
it.
had heard. That was what I had heard, yes.
Oh, that's
Lester
already
says, my
buried.
2 cents, those gossips are artificial. They're probing the market to make sure it would be a profitable project. That is entirely possible.
Would have been possible, but David Blue and another actor from Stargate, like the latest Stargate, I think it
Mhm.
was from Atlantis, they said that they weren't talking to me personally, but like Robert Carlyle, who was in Stargate Universal in one of the lead roles,
Hmm.
Amanda Tapping, even Richard Dean Anderson, they were in the talks, and they literally had been approached whether they would be eager to like reprise their roles in some capacity because the shows would probably be not literally them centric, but like in Stargate Universe, they still surface every now and then,
Yep.
so they are still part of the franchise. They're still part of the program. I just can't freaking stand that I can't even get to watch it legally here. I would have to download shit ton of
Yeah.
videos and no.
I'll do a probe and see what David Howlett has to say.
Let me.
Who has to say?
The actor who played Rodney McKay.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
He occasionally streams on here, and
Oh.
oh, does he? I didn't know is he on Twitch.
yeah, let's see.
Lexer
Well, he
says, when Lexer was talking about something, probing the market to see if it'll be profitable, there is a new medication in development for a disease or syndrome called HS. And at least 2 players in the fleet have got it. And I found it interesting that, as soon as I hear about these 2 people having it, all of a sudden we're seeing a medication possibly coming out for it, which is the same thing that happened with hepatitis C. A couple of years ago, before they were able to start in with these treatments, they started sticking out little commercials going, hey, if you've got these symptoms, you should check with your doctor. And then 6 months later, hey, if your doctor says you've got this, you may be eligible for a test protocol. And then the meds came out. So I can imagine it's similar.
There you go.
Well, Cliff, I loved Clone Wars. I thought that was great. Way back in the day. Back in
What?
the day. Clone Wars.
I can't open the
link?
thing.
Oh, the link. Give me a sec.
It gives me.
Yeah, no,
No,
same
I
thing.
had to remove the M. No, you have to remove. No, actually, there
can't.
is no account like that.
Yeah, that was a copy paste issue of
Okay.
using
Yeah.
a.
Sometimes my copy paste deletes extra letters.
Yeah,
There we
found
go.
it. I googled it. I mean,
There
they
you go.
searched it on Twitch.
Yep, there he is.
McKay of
but-
Stargate. Yep, got him.
Yep, he's an interesting person to sit and talk with.
Yeah, he's a big nerd.
You make that sound like a
I heard
bad
that
thing.
he.
If
He's
I
a big
remember-
nerd, but
Good.
yeah, what I heard is that he actually bought the set of Universe,
Really?
Yeah.
like the entire ship set.
Yeah,
So he's having that in storage, so whenever it's needed. I think they used it once for like a film they were shooting. But generally it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I heard the same, that him and a couple of the other actors got together and bought out the Universe's gate room set because otherwise it was going to be destroyed.
Wow.
MGM had an order to pull a Batman on it. Yeah.
Oh no.
For those who don't know, when they canceled Adam West's Batman,
Yeah.
another network had offered to pick it up for another 3 seasons,
Oh.
but the studio had already destroyed the sets.
Jeez. Yeah, good move there.
That was a good move to keep it. But for once, that set was absolutely brilliant. I think it was one of a kind thing of a set because they built a set that could easily be transformed into multiple kind of side rooms, so they could recreate any part of the ship if they wanted to.
Yep.
They had removable panels. They had rigging that allowed the camera to move above, so they weren't directly seeing the cameras in their face, but they were still being shot from like above, from the sides. So I heard like from like after the show ended, they were like doing interviews and saying that they really sometimes felt like they were on a ship because they were enclosed in these corridors and everything looked so authentic. The lighting and everything, it was just like one of a kind thing, and like losing that set would have been such a big loss to the industry anyway. Because
There was a season of Power Rangers like that. I believe it was Lightspeed Rescue. Their base was supposed to be this underwater base thing, and they said it felt like someone pulled a set out of Star Trek and plopped it down. That they practically lived in the thing. It was that
Nice.
comfortable and like realistic.
The Picard
cool.
set from, I think, all 3 seasons, virtually every interior is the same set. Just redressed and re-angled. They had, again, the movable walls so they could make things physically smaller, but they did as much as they could with lighting and minor changes to make it feel like different rooms, different spaces.
well, in
They
season
were on
3,
such a tight budget.
in season 3, La Sirena's bridge and the bay in the bottom was actually used as a bridge of what what's it called?
The Shrike?
The Shrike.
Yeah.
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 So the bottom part where you had the cargo bay was completely redressed to become a bridge of the Shrike. That was such a brilliant idea. I could see it, but it still looked like a different ship because they just used some paneling and coloring and lighting, and it's so cool how how you can repurpose stuff these days in the set. If it's designed properly, it can be reused so many times. Like they've
Right.
even reused a set from Strange New Worlds for the purpose of Discovery's latest season, so that was brilliant as well.
I want to see what this new set they've built for the Star Trek Starfleet Academy thing,
Mm-hmm.
because
Oh, I heard about it.
billed as the largest practical set they've ever built for any Star Trek
Yeah.
project.
Ooh,
Yes,
that
they have
sounds
been
good.
talking about that for a while. Lexer says that they used Star Trek Discovery sets for Picard. I don't think that's true after what we heard from...
Well, for season 1 for sure, because
Okay.
when Riker arrives with the cavalry, when he sits on the Shanghai bridge, it's actually redress of Discovery's bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about the other seasons.
You see, I don't
though.
consider seasons 1 and 2 to be Picard. They were just a show. The only
I
se-
don't consider them Star Trek for that matter.
well, I don't consider Discovery to be Star Trek either.
So
Well,
the-
that's rude.
in Strange New Worlds, the episode "Those Old Scientists,"
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
number one is going on about Boimler and Marin. Well, at the time, Boimler's communicator, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Saying it's not just a delta; it's a communicator.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: Pike knows of those kind of things because Section 31 uses very much similar
Huh.
setup, right? Number
they?
one,
I
not
mean-
so much.
Was he exposed to Section 31 that much? Like, did he interact with them when they were using those badges?
Yeah, because didn't he come in towards the end of the control issue?
Yeah, but I don't remember him on the bridge of a control vessel. Well, maybe once, but it was in a...
He, if I remember right, he was well versed with Leland.
Yeah, but
Well, he knew Leland, but I think it was from before Leland was in Section 31, I think.
But it shouldn't be a real issue. I mean, having a communicator in a badge is no different than having, basically you can put a phone down to that small.
Yep.
So
That's true.
that shouldn't be like a huge mental thing, especially since we've done that in, 30 years since we've had cell phones. They've gone from being bricks to being nothing.
Yep.
They come from being a suitcase to being nothing.
Yeah. I can't imagine
to a
that
glass
building it
panel.
into a pin is going to be anything
And-
surprising.
I've already seen for prototypes of a phone that looks like a glass panel. That's
Yeah.
just a
Yeah, I saw that too.
glass. It's,
There
that's insane.
are hospitals that have comm systems for their nurses that are basically a comm badge.
Oh, I love it. I love that Star Trek is setting the trends for that stuff.
As it
Right?
should be. As it should be. Hey, I have to get to work, everybody. Well, we've had a lovely, bizarre conversation this morning. I still have to go make some money.
All right. Go
All
make some
right.
money then, Mum.
I'm going to go make some money. So thank you all for being here today. The game plan is I will be here tonight. Next week is weird because next Tuesday they're doing a not a live show, but the equivalent of a live stream of a Gundam Seed movie at the theater. So we are off on Tuesday night to see Gundam Seed. So it'll be a little bit weird. Star Trek setting a trend? Of course we set the trends. Everyone, are you ready, Ed?
Yep.
Have a wonderful day and stay
Stay
moopsome.
Moopsome.
Shun the non-believer. Shun.